ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, welcome to our Saturday stream. This is our monthly Just Chatting session. My name is rbPlays. I am your humble host on this side of the screen. Thanks so much for stopping by. If this is your first time here, then, grab some snacks, grab a nice cozy beverage. Maybe it's a soda, maybe it's a tea or a coffee, maybe it's a juice. Whatever works for you. Hang out for a little bit. See if you like what we do, and if you do, then hit the follow button, get notified every time we go live, which is every Saturday. Sometimes we even stream on Sundays, depending on the game that we're playing. Last week, we participated in the U.S. Open Golf Tournament in EA Sports PGA Tour Golf. We didn't win, but we finished tied for fourth, which was pretty good. But if we're playing golf, then, we play the first two rounds on Saturday. If we make the cut, we play the last two rounds on Sunday. Of course, this is our monthly Just Chatting session. First Saturday of every month, we get together, we hang out for a couple hours, we talk about all the things, whether it's life or gaming or you name it. We talk about the things, and I give you a little glimpse behind the curtain and let you know what's going on in RB's world. You guys can bring up stuff that you want to talk about that are current events and such. We won't get into too sensitive of topics, so if there's something political that's bothering you or something like that, then we're not going to spend a lot of time on that, because that's a good way to just piss people off. One thing I've learned about politics is you could be on the same side of the political fence and still not be able to talk about politics. So anyway, how's everybody doing this week? It has been a week, y'all. It hasn't been a terrible week, but it has been a week. It was a short week for me in that Monday was a holiday here in the States. It was Labor Day. So I had Monday off. Got to go and enjoy some good food and some company at a friend's house. They had a pool, so we got to swim for a little bit. It was a good time. But then work started. So Tuesday I had to go in and Tuesday I wasn't feeling it at all. Tuesday was rough. 3-day weekend, get back to work. Tuesday was rough. I do need to ask you all a question. When it comes to, did I? I did. I turned the music volume way down. So now I need to know if the music volume is okay. And yes, Darth, there is a command that we have made for you. Well, we made not necessarily for you, but for something that you are going through right now. So if you type into chat, and I will do it right now. If you or anyone you know is struggling a little bit, music's perfect. Okay, good. If you or anyone you know or love, or both, is struggling with thoughts of, is it all worth it? Maybe wanting to not participate in life anymore, who is struggling, then make sure that you share that information with them. In the United States, the suicide crisis hotline is 988, so you dial 988 on your phone, hit send, and you will be able to talk to someone. Darth, our deepest sympathies on your friend. Death is never easy. Death is even harder when it doesn't seem to have a purpose. When someone you love all of a sudden is gone, it's tough. And I'm just talking about the ones that maybe you see coming, My dad fought cancer for years and had it beat for years. And then when it came back, you could tell that he wasn't going to beat it this time. And so when he passed back in 2019, it wasn't a surprise. But it was still hard, you know. So when someone decides to end their journey on their own, sometimes that one's even harder to process. I know in me that I could never do that. I know that in me, I could never do that. I could never end my own life, not deliberately. So it's hard for me to fathom just how rough things are for someone that would. At my worst in my life, I had thought about it once. It was a time in my early 20s where excuse me, where things just weren't going very well for me at all. I hadn't met my wife yet. I was drinking all the time. Life just did not seem to have a purpose. And I thought about it once, and then I was like, no, it's got to be better. It's got to get better than this. It has to. And I was right. So for someone who has trouble seeing the forest through the trees, I can see how being able to talk to someone would be absolutely invaluable. Absolutely invaluable. So if in the future we have a need to use that command, somebody comes in and is struggling with their existence, let's make sure that we use that. And also yeah, Mogi. Well, Darth, it's good that you have somebody. It really is. I know that our community is close, and of course, if you need to get anything off your chest, there are channels in our Discord where you can do that. But we're not there, you know. And if you just need to be heard, we will always listen. But I'm glad you've got somebody in your life that can help you cope with that right now. It's just, I am so sorry about your dad. I know that was a long time ago, but as I was telling someone just yesterday, it never gets any easier. You just get used to it, you know? I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Man, we're starting to stream off heavy today. You kind of just get used to the bad things that happen in your life. You learn how to work around them or with them. Mogi, it's great that you have a therapist. I do not have a therapist. I've thought about talking to one a couple of times, but then I always kind of seem to work my own way through it. I've always been stubborn and stupid like that. But the point that I want to make here is that mental health is still health. And it's taken us a long time to recognize that mental health is still health. Some people have recognized that for a while, but I think en masse, the society is finally coming to terms with, yes, there are physical ailments that doctors can fix, broken bones, blood disorders, bad organs, you know, things that make us weaker on a physical level. But the best advice we had for years was, if somebody was struggling with something mentally, was, suck it up. Life's tough for everybody. That's not the answer. That's not the answer. Having someone to talk to, having someone to look to for guidance, having someone to Yeah. Autoimmune diseases, bone worms. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Especially that was you get used to the fact that the world is just a cruel place sometimes. And it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you don't have to get used to it. You do have to learn how to cope with it. And some people have a very hard time coping with tragedy, uncertainty, anxiety. Anxiety is a big one in this house. Not for me personally, but some of the members of my family struggle with anxiety a lot. It is hard for them to do stuff. And sometimes those fears get the better of you. Depression. Oh, my life is terrible. It's never going to get any better. If you have someone that you can talk to, then please, for all that is holy, righteous, and pure, get help. Talk to someone. So, I've never been formally diagnosed. I mean, if we're going to do this, let's do this. I've never been formally. I hear you, Darth. I've never been formally diagnosed, but we are pretty certain that I have something called BPD, not bipolar disorder, but borderline personality disorder. And Mogi, you just modded. You just mentioned something that I felt that I had to talk about. You say you're predisposed to severe anger issues. One of the key points, one of the things about BPD, or borderline personality disorder, is they do lash out from time to time. I don't know if you guys have ever really picked up on it, but there have been a few times on stream where Istrisi, God love him, God love him. He'll get to me. And it doesn't. You're getting good at getting yelled at. You're about to get yelled at again. Sometimes, yeah, poking the bear one too many times, and sometimes I can't control my outbursts. I can't, and I feel like I've done an okay job on stream, on camera, but after the stream, I'm a wreck for hours. I'm a naturally introverted person, so I don't deal well with social stuff, right? And then you tack borderline personality disorder on top of it, which, again, I haven't been formally diagnosed, but all the signs are there, right? I have a feeling that if I were to go and actually talk to someone, I feel like they would probably... I think if I went and talked to 10 therapists, 7 of them would probably say, yeah, I think there's some BPD there. If I weren't married, Mogi, if I weren't married, I would 100% stay single. I got lucky. I got lucky. I met Mrs. RB in 30 years ago this year. I met Mrs. RB. 30 years next month, I met Mrs. RB. And I got lucky that she got me, you know. The clue is skin turned green, ripping a t-shirt off RB Smash. Yes. Yes. Diamond, yes, that's it. But I got lucky, and if it weren't for her, I would absolutely be single. I would absolutely not have my 3 fantastic kids. I would not have made many of the choices that I made in my life. She made me a better person. Yes. Yeah. I'm glad you're there to take it sometimes, Estrissy, and I try not to be too bad about it. Cuz yelling at others is never a good thing. Yelling at anybody is never a good thing. I have my good days, I have my bad days, just like everybody else. Yesterday yesterday was a struggle, y'all. So there's this one person in the environment that I work in who just notoriously, like, as soon as my work phone goes off and I see that it's this person, I'm like, oh, Hulk smash. Technically been married for 28 years. Yeah. Yeah. We haven't been married for 30 years yet, but we met 30 years ago next month. What was I going to say? Oh, so this one individual messaged me yesterday, and it's about just dumb stuff. I tried to be polite. I tried to be helpful. That message thread ended, but it ate at me the rest of the freaking day. And I had to go out. And get stuff. I worked from home yesterday. I had to go out and get stuff for dinner for last night. And I could tell that conversation that I had an hour before was just eating at me. And I was taking it out on other drivers. I was yelling at people. It was not... Road rage comes easily for me sometimes. I'm not proud of that, but it is funny. I would never do anything about it. I'll just yell at people from inside of my car. Because it's just me. I try not to do it when the wife or the kids are in the car with me, because I don't need to subject them to that trauma. But if I'm in the car alone, boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Well, I was driving, though, so I couldn't really get into Discord at the moment. Georgia is technically a hands-free state, and so I can't message people in Discord and say, hey, can you talk for a minute? But the best example yesterday is lines on roads exist for a reason. They're to tell you where you can and cannot drive, right? I'm in my lane. My lane is the right turn lane. But on this particular stretch of road, there is another right turn lane that's before... There's another intersection that goes into a subdivision before you get out to the main road that I was turning on to come home. So I'm in the lane that I'm supposed to be in. Someone sees this other turn lane and assumes that it's for the intersection where I'm going to turn at instead of the one before. So I'm in my turn lane and I'm driving forward, and they come flying up beside me. And then when they realize that their lane is the one that doesn't continue on, they just keep going. And I continued to move over to the right, following my lane. And they had the nerve to lay on the horn and start honking and yelling at me. I could see their lips moving. Of course, I don't know what they were saying, but I could see their lips moving in the rear view mirror. And I just went... That made him even more mad. But that's okay. All right, Estrissy, you go do you, man. Thanks for stopping by this morning. You go do you. happy birthday to the kid. Hope you guys have an amazing party. Hope you guys have an amazing party. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, have fun. Don't worry about us. We got this. Trained professional here, great people in chat, and another fantastic mod to keep us all in line. So we're good. That could be the thumbnail. Hopefully that will be the thumbnail. I may have to make that the thumbnail. So it's you got another mod. Cool. Who are they? I was talking about you, Diamond. I was talking about you. Anyhow, yeah, actually, relaxation grass is legal in Georgia. I wouldn't ever do it anyway because I don't do that. If it's not prescribed to me, I don't take it. I had problems with booze when I was younger. That goes all the way back to that story that we were sharing earlier. Yes, the jazz lettuce. Yes. It is legal in Georgia if it's prescribed. Medical marijuana is allowed in Georgia. But it's hard to get because you have to get it from an official place. And there are very few places that you can get it from. Now, it is getting better. But the other thing is that I can't, even with a medical card, I can't use that and work for the railroad. The railroad has zero tolerance. So if I have any THC in my system at all, I'm done. So I can't, even if I wanted to, I can't. Yeah, Arizona's a recreational state. What's the other recreational states? Colorado's a recreational state, I think. Virginia's a recreational state. So there are some, and to that point, there are some. Michigan's recreational, yeah, okay. So, fun fact, the railroad used to have no limit, and boy oh boy, there was a horrific train accident back in the 80s, I think it was. It was either late 80s or early 90s. It was on Conrail. But the engineer was absolutely strung out on cocaine. We had on my first day on the railroad back in 2005, on my first day, they were taking me on a tour, showing me all the different places where we keep things. And there was this rickety old platform. There was this rickety old platform that was shoved off in a corner, and it looked like it had a place where you could hook it up to a forklift. And I was like, "Oh, what's that? Is that a man basket or something? Do we do our own maintenance around here?" You know, because I was in construction before I came to the railroad, so I was thinking, oh, maybe I get a chance to be a facility electrician instead of just a locomotive electrician. I could do that. They said, no. Well, yes, it is a man lift, but we don't work off of it, at least not anymore. I said, oh, okay, well, did you just contract that stuff out now or whatever? He said, well, yeah, but that's not even what that was for. We actually do have a man basket. And if we do need to work at elevation, we can put the man basket on there. But that one there, that's not what that one was for. I said, oh, well, what was it for? He said, well, back in the day, back before the Norfolk Southern's railroad rule is called Rule G. That's our drug and alcohol rule. Back before Rule G, engineers and conductors would show up so drunk and stoned that they couldn't even walk. And so we would put them on this platform, and we would raise them up to the running boards of the locomotive, and then they would just crawl into the cab. It's like, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? No, we're not kidding. They weren't kidding. Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it though. Railroads have the right of way. On track, trains have the right of way. If you're a car or a person on the track, you're not supposed to be there. And so trains have the right of way. They can't go the wrong direction. Pilots unit's calling now. They can't go the wrong direction. They're going to go where the tracks lead you, right? So unless you've got a misaligned switch, you're going to follow the rails that you are on, right? So honestly, as long as they could apply the brakes and advance the throttle, you know, the common mentality was, nothing bad can happen. It goes one way. What could go wrong? Yeah. Well, in 1980 something, 1990 something, there was an engineer who was absolutely out of his mind, plastered on cocaine, and he blew through a signal. And he went through a signal, didn't stop, and collided with an Amtrak train up in Pennsylvania. And a lot of people were killed. And that was the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back when it came to railroads, drugs, and alcohol. So, yeah. So we can't enjoy any of that stuff. We're still allowed to consume alcohol, but we can't have any in our system when we show up to work. That was the straw that retired the man lift. Yeah. We're not allowed to have any. We have to, if they show up to do a random test on us, we have to blow a 0.000000. Like, it has to be 0. The federal limit is 0.001 or something like that. But Norfolk Southern's limit is 0. If you blow anything other than a 0, you're in violation of Rule G and you're pulled out of service. You have to go through Rule G counseling sessions. You're fired for 9 months. You have the opportunity to get your job back once. Second offense, you're done. So, lots of guys running around with bad breath, no mouthwash. Yeah. So yeah, it is a 200 plus ton vehicle, plus all the way to the cars, right? An empty freight car. Here's your railroad education seminar for today. And this is honestly, this is part of a speech that I give to every new hire that comes into the railroad, because I do a lot of safety orientation training in the job that I have. An empty freight car, the smallest empty freight car that we haul goods, commodities, or other things in, is probably an open top gondola car. They're around 56 feet. Some of them are even shorter, but they weigh 60,000 pounds empty. They weigh 60,000 pounds empty. Then you start putting stuff in it. Could be grain, could be coal, could be rock, could be a flat car, hole in steel or lumber, could be a box car hauling literally thousands of iPads or TVs or hundreds of appliances. And that weight just starts to go up and up and up and up and up. You still notice the who to call signs. Yeah, like I'm so glad that we talked about that all those months ago. It's unfortunate the events that had to lead up to bringing awareness to those little blue signs on the signposts. Of course, there was a Union Pacific engineer and conductor that were killed in a grade crossing accident because they hit a truck that was stopped on the tracks and nobody called to warn the railroad. Well, they're there. They're required by law. They're there. But yeah, an empty freight car, the smallest one, weighs about 56 to 60,000 pounds, empty. And then you start looking at the locomotives, right? How many freight cars are in a train? Usually 100 at least. And we're running in railroads now where longer trains. So it could be 200 plus cars in a train. So you take 200, you take 100 times 60,000. That's 6 million pounds. 6 million pounds. In the state that I live, there are no signs or bars or anything around tracks. Yeah, they're just open. So you're talking about like just the crossbuck crossings where there's no lights or gates or anything? Because all railroad crossings that are public crossings have to have at least the crossbucks. If they're not busy crossings, then they can just have crossbucks. If they're slightly busy, then they have to have crossbucks and lights. If they're very busy, then they have to have crossbucks, lights, and gates. Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, and Darth, you've probably got some areas out where you live. I know we have some areas where I live where the crossings they're remote enough that there's not a lot of like public traffic there. And it's open for miles and miles and miles. You can look left and right and just see forever. And if there's no traffic there, then do we need lights? Do we need gates? The train is the engineer is gonna blow the whistle at the crossing, so he's gonna notify people there. And once the train is there, you can't get through anyway because you're gonna be running into a moving train. The number of crossbuck accidents, the number of just straight crossbuck crossing accidents is very, very low. The number of straight crossbuck crossing accidents is very, very low. The ones that generally have the most accidents are actually the ones with gates. Yeah. So if the train is going super slow and there's not a lot of public traffic, then they're not required to have lights or gates. When you get gates and lights in there, you have to have crossing predictors, so it has to know how far the train is from the crossing, and it has to activate the crossing gates and lights within so many seconds before the train gets to the crossing. It's a whole thing, right? It's a whole thing. But back to the weight thing, right? So you got 100 empty hopper cars that weigh 60,000 pounds times 100. That's 6 million pounds. I did that math right, I think. That's 6 million pounds. Then on top of that, you got to have at least a locomotive to pull it. And the road units, the locomotive, the big 6-axle road units that we're using on mainline service, those weigh, anybody want to take a guess? I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before. And that's why you don't brake check trains like semis, you can't win. 50 ton. 50 times $1 million. No, Darth, they cost $7 million. Locomotives cost about $7 million right now each. They weigh. I'm gonna do pounds. Because I don't math well. 480,000 pounds each. Now the smaller like yard and local service engines, those, you know, the small 6-axle ones, those are 275. But yeah, the big road units are 500,000 pounds. And there's usually two, because if one breaks down, you got to be able to keep going. Or, yeah, okay, 240 ton. Yeah. Yeah, they're a lot. And our facility, our repair facility in Altoona, Pennsylvania, has a crane that will lift them. We actually pick the locomotive up to put new wheels and trucks under them from time to time. So we'll just reach down with a crane and just pick it up, move it over, set it down on a new set of trucks. And the trucks weigh probably, the trucks probably weigh probably about 30,000 pounds each. There's two trucks with 3 motors underneath. 4 tough new trucks. No, not that kind of truck. The wheel and axle assemblies. Didn't think I'd be educating you guys on railroad stuff today. Oh, so yeah. Anyway, stuff on railroads is big and heavy. And so to that point, you know, when I have my first day, when I have my first day lecture with all the new hires that come in, I just ask them, does anybody know how much a freight car weighs? Does anybody know how much a locomotive weighs? And some of them are close. Some of them are close. Most of them have no idea. But when you tell them, when you tell them that an empty freight car weighs the same as 60 Ford Festivas, that gets their attention, you know? Gets their attention. And then I have to tell them, you know, look, you're going to be working in an unforgiving environment. Is the railroad dangerous? It has dangerous components. But if you know how those components work, if you know where those components are, or 4,000 tons, yes. 30 ton times 100 cars plus 3 engines, 240 tons, 4,000 tons, yes. Yeah, exactly. That's why when you get hit by a train, it's bad. It's bad. And it takes a train a long time to stop. If you've got one, that's assuming that they're empty with no cargo in them. And some of those cars are just heavier by nature. Some of them are 70, 80, 100,000 pounds. Just depends on what they're made for, right? But everything out on the railroad is big and heavy. And you, my new railroad employee, are soft and squishy. Everything out there is big, solid, heavy. You are soft and squishy. So keep your head on a swivel. If you don't have to be in the foul of the track for any reason, then don't be. Look both ways before you cross the tracks. Stay an arm's length away so that if you're walking down the tracks and something comes up behind you, you're not in the foul. Because everything out there, for as big and rumbly as the railroad is, it is so quiet. You get out into a rail yard as a new hire employee and you're not used to that environment. The first thing that you notice is that when a train comes rolling by in a yard, it's quiet. it's very difficult to hear it coming. And then you get up in the Great White North where it's cold 19 months out of the year and it snows, and you get that layer of snow and ice on the ground, it makes it even worse. It acts like an insulator. There have been so many incidents on the railroads of individuals that were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Some of them were able to get up and walk away. Others were not, either because it cut their legs off or because it killed them. And rail cars don't know, right? Rail cars don't. They're big and heavy, and they're rolling. If they hit you, they're gonna chew you up, spit you out, keep right on going. Because a lot of times those movements are being made in a direction where there's nobody watching them, at least not in the yards. So make sure you have permission to be where you need to be. Make sure that people know you're down there. Is the railroad a dangerous place to work? Can be. That's on you. You're the one that makes it a dangerous place to work. It's not the equipment. The equipment doesn't know any better. It's you. How's that for a first day speech? To somebody 18, 19 years old, fresh out of high school, and this is the job that they think they want for the rest of their life. An office can be dangerous too, sure. Somebody leaves a file cabinet door hanging open and you're not paying attention, scrolling through your latest emails or whatever, and you come around the corner and you trip over that open cabinet, that open filing cabinet door. Lean too far back in your office chair and it tumbles over behind you. Lots of things can happen in lots of places. Even your own home. I'd be a good safety guy. Actually, I am a safety guy, so I'm an instructor, but I'm part of the safety department, so I'm a safety guy. So here's something for you. Week before last, I think I know I've shared with you guys that Union Pacific wants to buy the railroad that I work for, and there are some concerns over what will happen to positions like mine because Union Pacific doesn't do training the way that we do. Only time will tell. Seen a person fall out of a chair while on the phone. Yeah. Cords strung across the floor, trip over them. If I believe my hazardous waste training, whiteout will mess you up. It could. But so there's a question about what is going to happen to the training center if Union Pacific takes over Norfolk Southern. We had to do a fall protection class. I took a 1 week competent person instructor course week before Labor Day. It was a 5-day class. First 2 days was to make me a competent person for the use and the guidance of fall protection. The remaining 3 days were to make me a fall protection instructor. So now I have full competent person qualification on my resume, as well as competent person instructor on my resume. And that's important because I've made a career out of educating adults. Since 2010, I have been essentially an adult educator. Yes. Excuse me. Since 2010, I've been an adult educator in all things safety and job related, right? So I had to get up and I had to give a presentation of a few of the modules from the competent person class. Thank you, Darth. Had to get up and give our instructor a brief presentation on some of the module sections, just so we could prove to him that we're capable of presenting the material, setting up a class, all that good stuff. After the class was done on Friday, the Friday before Labor Day, after the class was done, I had to take some stuff back to my office. I was coming out of my office and met the instructor of the class that we were in at the corner, and he said, "Hey, I didn't want to. I don't know how people take this sometimes, so I didn't want to say anything in the class that might embarrass you or whatever. But you're a good instructor." I said, "Okay, well, I appreciate that. I've been doing this a long time, and I try to make sure that when I'm standing in front of people, that I'm credible, that I'm clear and concise with what I'm trying to say, and that I'm engaging, right?" And he said, "Well, you nailed it. I have no doubts that you're going to be fine presenting this material going forward." I said, "Well, again, I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment." And then, I said, it's a shame because, I've built a career on this, and I built a career on this, and it's frustrating to not know what my job is going to look like in 2 years. He said, "If this doesn't work out, call me." So, All Tech, based out of California, I have a contact at Fall Tech if I need it, which is comforting. And this guy, our instructor, was based out of he was based out of Calgary, British Columbia, and so obviously I wouldn't have to move. I'd probably have to travel, but I wouldn't have to move, which is amazing. Like, that's now the one thing that we didn't talk about is money. Money's important. I do okay. I don't know if Fall Tech is a smaller company. I don't know if they can afford me. But again, it's comforting to know that they're interested at least, So, yeah. And this guy, the guy that came and did our class, was the director of training for Fall Tech. So, if anybody's going to be able to hire somebody, it's going to be him. I've thought about just calling him and saying, "Hey, talk to me. Tell me something." The only real issue with it is I have been contributing to railroad retirement for 20 years. There's a portion of railroad retirement that goes above Social Security. So Social Security is 11.5%, 12%, something like that. Railroad retirement is 14.5%. So roughly 2.5% I'm paying into railroad retirement. If I leave the railroad, I lose that. If I leave the railroad, I lose that. I still get my pension because I'm fully vested in my pension with 20 years of service. So I would still get a pension from the railroad, but my railroad retirement benefit would go down. And also, Mrs. RB would lose her railroad retirement because she gets railroad retirement just for being married to me. And yeah, Mogi, you're right. The railroad has some of the best retirement benefits in the world. Just so that you guys get the full picture here. For your average, ordinary, everyday railroad employee, craft worker working in a car shop, locomotive shop, signal maintainer, whatever. If you just draw railroad retirement, You make it to 60 years old, which is the minimum retirement age for railroad retirement. And you have 30 years of service, which is the minimum number of years of service that you need to draw full benefits. So you're 30 years in and 60 years old. When you retire, you will make somewhere between 85 and 90% of what you made working. And your wife will make half of that. Your wife will make half of that. So you're going to make more if your wife doesn't work at all, like Mrs. RB. If your wife doesn't work at all, then she's going to get 48% of your railroad retirement benefit as a railroad retirement benefit on top of your whatever you get. So you're going to make your household income goes up when you retire. Now I'm a supervisor. You don't have to like them, Darth. They're easy to work around. Darth, if I were you though, if you wanted to make a career change and you're good at, are you good with your hands? You could go and apply with Burlington Northern, BNSF. I wouldn't. No, okay. There may be other jobs that you could do though. And some of the office jobs never see a train. But anyway, as a supervisor, not only do you supervisor, you can see for miles. Yeah. As a supervisor, not only do you get your railroad retirement benefit, so 30 years of service, 60 years of age, your wife also 60 years of age, you get yours, she gets half of yours, so you're going to get that 85 to 90%. You're going to get that 85 to 90%, plus she's going to get her 48%. So your income is going to go up after you retire, after you both retire. But then also I have a 401k, which craft employees can get 401ks as well. So that's just going to add on top. But I get my 401k. So that puts me somewhere in the 90% of income. My wife does not get the 401k. So that's just me. And then I also get my pension. As long as I'm 55 years old and have been a supervisor for 5 years, I am fully vested in the railroad pension for Norfolk Southern. So just me, when I retire, I'll make about 102, 103% of what I made working retired. And then my wife gets 48% of my railroad retirement on top of that. So when Mrs. RB and I can finally retire, we're going to be doing okay. Now, the problem with that is Mrs. RB is younger than me and she can't retire until she is 60. So we're going to have to wait a couple of years for that after I retire. But still, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Railroad retirement is amazing. It's amazing. Well, she's not that much younger. We're 5 years apart. 4 and a few months. Right? 4 years and 10 months, I think. Difference between us. Yeah. I've always gotten along. So my parents started me in school as early as they could. My parents started me in school as soon as they could. So technically, your wife is 6 years older than you are. So see, if you were to go into the railroad and start contributing to railroad retirement, your wife could retire sooner. As soon as you retire, she can retire, and you're both gonna make the benefit. Now, the problem with people who are older that join the railroad is you do have to wait until you're 67. 67 is the minimum retirement age for full benefits of railroad retirement for someone who's not going to get 30 years. And then you also want to make sure that you can try to get multiples of 10. So 10 years of service or 20 years of service, and then be 60 years old. Those are the milestones in railroad retirement. If I go when I'm 60, I'll have 28 years of service. Mrs. RB will only be 55. So I don't want to do this, but I will probably wait the other 2 years. I'll probably wait the other 2 years to get to 62. That way I get my 30 years of service so I can get full railroad retirement. And then it'll only be 3 years ish before Mrs. RB can retire and get hers. So that won't be terrible. It won't be terrible. Because like I said, I'll already make more retired than I will working. But I'm going to have to figure out the whole insurance thing and all that, which navigating those waters in retirement is fun. No, not fun. You're both Persian? No, I know you meant pension. I do wish that for someone who doesn't work, that they would change the retirement guidelines for a spouse. If your spouse puts in their full career and retires and starts drawing retirement benefits, regardless of your age, I mean, to a point, you should be able to retire also. But that's not going to happen. So Estrisi is young. He's a young pup. He's a young pup. I got 10 years on that boy, almost. Almost. All right. We've been doing this for about an hour now. I got some other things I wanted to talk to you about. I barely remember 44. And it wasn't that long ago. It was like 9 years. So the first thing is the laptop. This just chatting. The laptop. So I want to change the SSD in this laptop. It's a 512 gig SSD, and it's pretty full right now, right? Like if I let's see here. Come on. Come on. There we go. Let's see here. This PC. Okay, let's go to here. So as you can see, the passport drive, that's my external. That's my external. And then the operating system is 475 gigs, and I've got 180 gigs left. So it's not bad. But if I put, so I had, what did I have? I had, which game was it? Oh, Diamond wants me to hydrate. Let me hydrate real quick, and then we'll talk about this. Baldur's Gate. I had Baldur's Gate installed on this laptop, and the hard drive was full, because Baldur's Gate, as you all know, is a huge game. Baldur's Gate is a huge game, and so it filled up the hard drive like nothing. So right now I've got a couple of games on here, but I would like to be able to have more. I know it's small next to others, but Mogi, you're right. It's stupid huge. So I bought Yeah, I know. I actually saw it pop up out of the corner of my eye. Now it's being dumb. Okay. Anyway, so I got a new NVMe drive. Is it a newer laptop? Probably 2021, 2021, somewhere in there, probably. So not new, but new enough. Anyway, it's got a 512 gig SSD in it. I bought a 2 terabyte SSD for it. I'm having trouble cloning the Windows drive from this laptop. It does not have 2 SSD ports in it. It has one. It has one SSD port and one regular 2.5-inch port. It only has one SSD slot in it. But so it has a 512 in it. So that's why I'm bringing it. Doesn't have 2 though. It's not an NVMe port. It has one NVMe slot and then one regular. What are you talking about? It has a cable. It has a spot to plug in another hard drive, just not an NVMe drive. This is what we were talking about earlier. Strissy's starting to stress me out. Anyway, I want to change this to a 2 terabyte drive. I was able to use CloneZilla to clone the Windows drive from this PC to this NVMe drive. But after it was done, using an online tutorial and following all the steps, it was supposed to expand the OS drive. It was supposed to expand the OS drive to take up the rest of the space so that all 2 terabytes are usable. It didn't. It did an exact clone of the OS. So when it was all said and done, I still only had 475 gigs. I still only have 475 gigs. And Diamond, you're right. Gparted is your friend. I went back in and I went into Gparted. So I did a Gparted live. I did a Gparted live USB. And when I tried to expand it out, when I tried to move the partitions and then expand out the OS portion, the OS partition, it errored. It wouldn't do it. I don't remember what the error said, but it wouldn't do it. I don't know how to do that. Strissy, I don't know how to do that. Had a problem messing with your OS drive last year when I installed a new one. Took me a week to get it working right. Multiple tools to fix it. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now. Is I don't know how to fix this. I want to fix this because I have plans for this stuff. This 500 gig NVMe drive that's in here, over there in my pile of garbage, I have a small compact desktop that takes an NVMe drive. Maybe your laptop mainboard can't see 2 terabytes. I'm sure that's not it. I'm sure that's not it. Maybe it is, but I'm sure that it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. And I'll tell you why. Because I was able to put Linux on this. And when I boot into Linux on it, then yeah, and also Gparted saw it. Yes. But when I put Linux on it, and then I went into the Linux environment and pulled up my disks, it's a 2 terabyte. It measures 1.86. So yeah, the mainboard sees it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And to the point of that whole BPD conversation that we had earlier, it stresses me out and I'm gonna rage quit. Yeah. What are you doing? So I hit complete all requests. I'm gonna do that. And do that again. Reward queue? Yeah, okay, that's better. That's better. So I hit complete all requests on my rewards notification area, and it was just spinning wheel in it. It was weird. I need a chat command for take a deep breath. Mainboard versus Windows. Don't see 2 terabytes when inside Windows, but can in the BIOS. I think that's kind of where we're at. The other thing that I was thinking about doing, and hear me out on this, is there's a couple of things that I want to see if they will work on Linux. I don't know if I'm having that internal struggle again, guys. I'm having that internal struggle again where I want to be on Linux. And that may be part of the reason. I knew that was I knew that. Yeah, that was the reaction I kind of expected. That's the reaction I kind of expected. Cheers. But I do want to see. Use this number. It didn't. Wait, it didn't pull it up. It's not list, it's live. Have I tried the SSD on Linux? Yes. I did install Mint 22. I did install Mint 22 on this, and it worked fine. So I may do some testing with this and keep the SSD in this one, keep it Windows, right? That way all I gotta do is take the back cover off and swap the drives out, and it will not change anything, right? I won't be reformatting drives over and over and over again, right? But I do want to find out if PGA Tour Golf will work. Yes. So after I cloned it, I was able to boot to the new SSD, but it only showed up as 400. It was an exact clone. It showed up as 475 gigs, just like it does now. And then, but it showed inside of, if I went to disk management in Windows, it showed that there was a lot of unallocated space. There was a lot of unallocated space that I couldn't allocate to C. It was super weird. Like, I don't get it. 8 steps on Discord. 8 steps on. I don't have Discord. I don't have Discord open. Here's Discord. Tech Talk. Open a command prompt as an administrator. Check the start button. Type CMD. Right click on command prompts. Run as administrator. Start the disk part utility. View available partitions. Select the correct disk. Okay, I'll have to look at that later. Because I do want to get it to work. I do want to get it to work. Make an ISO, then run it on a VM, just spitballing. I'm not super keen on the whole VM thing. Just from a performance perspective, you know? And to your point, Diamond, you said something about doesn't Windows have a disk migration thing? And I think they do. Can I just closing off the computer room. Okay. Guests must be arriving. Step 1, open Windows. 2, unplug all cables from computer. 3, pick up laptop. 4, throw it out the window. Yeah, that seems legit. That seems legit. Yeah. Mrs. RB and I got a new water pick. I used it this morning. Noticeable difference. Why unplug it? Bad things happen when you rip cords out of the wall by heaving the computer out the window. Sometimes bad things happen. Because you don't want to trip. I don't know about that. You played with 220 in the shed? It was fun? Yeah. I have one 220 outlet in the workshop. It's for the planer. I do. Oh, man, I tell you what. Sometimes he's on the ground floor. That's true. Right outside the window is the backyard. So, or I could just open up the door over there and just throw it out the door. I could just open up the door, walk outside, and set it on the ground. Black or green is ground. On ours, green is always ground. In American 220 circuits, red and black are your phase conductors. White is your neutral in case you're going to use that 220 for a 120 leg. And then green is your ground. Green or bare. Green or bare copper is your ground. Oh, I feel like I need to stretch, but nobody's told me to stretch. So blue and brown, that's an interesting conundrum. So depending formally, if you're working with, if you're a commercial electrician such as myself, then, and you're working with a 120 208 system. Oh, there they are. Stretch. We're going to stretch twice. How about that? Oh, there's one. Oh. And then there's two. That was good. Check. Check. Thank you. So residential is 120, 240, but it's actually like 230 something. So 120, 240, single phase. You're going to use black and red. All of the wire that you can buy from your electrical supply houses that's Romex is black and red with white as your neutral conductor, and then a bare copper conductor for your ground. I do a lot of construction work, which is three phase, a lot of commercial and industrial work. So it's three phase. So on 120, 208 systems, it's black, red, blue for your phase conductors. Black, red, blue for your phase conductors. White is still neutral. And then green or bare, but usually green, is your ground. On 277 480 circuits, then you're going to have brown, orange, yellow for your phase conductors, gray for your neutral, and green for ground. You have 5 faces in the shed? 5 faces. I have 1 face. This is as good as it gets. Yeah, I only have one face. I know you meant phases. It was shocking. You have 5 phases. So you've got 3 phase and single phase out there? Is that what you're saying? Or am I misinterpreting your English or adjacent English? Ooh, Mrs. RB wants me to make a roast tonight. I'm making a roast tonight, y'all. Well, not really a roast. It's more like a meatloaf. We use turkey burger. Which, if you're looking to lower cholesterol and fat and all that, turkey burger is a turkey burger for the win. So yeah, turkey burger, potatoes, carrots, green beans, mushrooms, Worcestershire sauce, brown sugar. Two cables running out there. One with 3 inside and one with 5. Okay. You can run high power tools out there? Can imagine the color scheme Mistress uses when he's doing electrical work, keeping away from the locomotive. Fun fact about locomotive wiring is 2 colors. Mostly. Either black and blue or black and white or blue and white, depending on the manufacturer. Very few other colors in there. Unless you get into a multi-conductor cable, like a low voltage thing. My first journeyman, the first journeyman I learned from when I was an electrical apprentice, was colorblind. And when you're dealing with 3-phase systems, obviously you've got 5 colors. You got 5 colors that you have to deal with, right? And if we ever had to pull wire, I had specific instructions on how to lay the wire cart out so that he knew which color was which. Black, blue, white, green, 2 colors. Yeah, exactly. But I had specific instructions on how to lay the wire cart out if I was the one that set it up, so that if the labels got ripped off of the wire spools, then he would still know what colors were what without having to ask anybody. I don't know what I can't imagine what that would be like to not see any color. Like, I love the fact that I can see color. I don't like the colors in here. I need to paint this room. I really need to paint this room. We've lived in this house for 7 years now. Man, it's been 7 years already. We've lived in this house for 7 years now. Mrs. RB finally gave me permission to paint stuff. She's been worried about what if we make the wrong color choices and paint is purple? Yeah. No, I'm not going to make it pink. It's not going to be pink. I think this wall here, is going to be white because this wall is the wall that reflects light back at me for the stream off of the key lighting. But I think that wall back there, I want that to be something a little darker. A little darker. Not dark, though, right? I want it. I don't know. I don't know. Light gray on the doors. Maybe a really light blue. Yeah, really light blue could work. Painted Argyle. Sure. Maybe put in some kind of plaid effect back there. Yeah. That'd be good. That'd be great. The other thing that came up this week, and I know we're all over the place, but that's what these just chatting sessions are all about. Argyle would go with the sword, yeah. I feel like now that I have access to some different tools, I feel like my family has a family crest. I need to talk to my mom. My mom does a bunch of ancestry stuff, a bunch of genealogy stuff. And I do have some lineage that goes back to Scotland. So I think that I think we have a family. I think we have a crest someplace in our history. I'd like to get that pattern and then do like a CNC router cut of that pattern. And I don't even know if it's that much. I don't even know if it's 2.5%. But it's there. It's there. I've got Scottish, Irish. I've got some Scottish and Irish in me. The Irish is probably more profound. There's probably more Irish. Cloning Windows 10. I just need to clone Windows 11. I'm sure it's the same. Crosses that are crossed. Cool. Yeah. When I was born, my hair was so red. Actually, it was copper. My hair was copper colored. If you took a brand new copper penny and put it on my head, you would lose it because you couldn't see it. It was the same color. Oh yeah. So I have some Scandinavian in me. I feel like it's probably well, I know for a fact that there is some there's Swedish. My mom's side of the family, specifically my mother's side of the family, has direct lineage back to Sweden. But also, there could also be Dane or something else. But I think it's mostly Swedish. I love Swedish meatballs. I need to get my mom's recipe for Swedish meatballs. I'd love to make some. But yeah, and then on my mother's mother's side of the family comes from the Scandinavian countries. My mother's father's lineage comes from Ireland, England, Scotland type of areas. I've also got some German, but that's minute also. There's also, not sure where it came from, but there's also some Asian. Not sure which Asian. We think it's Chinese, but we're not real sure. Both my brother and one of our kids. My brother's had a genealogy swab done, a DNA test done, and so has my son. And both of them came back with a small percentage of Asian. So again, not sure really where that comes from. Direct descendants from Pocahontas. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Did your son think he was not related to you? No. No. Because he looks just like me. He does not look like my brother. He does not look like my brother. I guess my only question on this video from Jay's 2 cents is how old is it? I'm not sure about the mailman. I'm not sure about the mailman. I don't remember who our mailman was when my son was born. When our son was born, let's see. Where were we? We didn't have a milkman. They had stopped delivering milk years ago. I might be from the milkman. I don't know. I was going to say something. Oh, the information doesn't expire. Same process today. That's what I was gonna ask how old this video is, because some of the tools that some of the videos have said are okay.
Warning, ads inbound. Warning, ads
inbound. No ads, but okay, great. I love it. You just wanted to hear the stream fart, I know. But yeah, some of the tools that some of these folks use, Ease US was a big one. And then shortly after all of the creators did a video on, hey, it's this easy to do this, Ease US went behind a paywall. So depending on what Jay is using there, that could make a difference. But I will absolutely watch it. I will absolutely watch it because I want to figure this out. I want to figure this out so that I can make this hard drive bigger. I am also going to get, and I thought about just doing this, keeping the 512 gig hard drive in here and just getting a larger SSD, like disk SSD to put in here. Get a couple terabytes for like a D drive, which is also a possibility. I have the one in the streaming computer, but I use that for recording. So that's where all of my clips and stuff go that I record, which I haven't recorded anything in forever, y'all. I haven't recorded anything in forever, and I feel super bad about that. I just don't feel like I have time. I haven't had time to build anything in the shop. Haven't had time to work on the CNC router. Haven't had time to work on the server. by the time I have time, by the time I retire and have time, I'll only have a couple of years left in my life. It feels like. Life does happen. That is for sure. Life does happen. But one thing I did do this week, Jay chose to use a commercial product with a free option for home use. Okay. All right. One thing that I did do this week, and those of you that are in the Discord saw this. So we bought a new 3D printer at work. We bought the Bamboo Labs X1C because it will do multiple colors, and some of the projects that are on the slate require print in place multiple filament color options, and so I convinced them that we need a 3D printer that will do multiple colors. Right now we have the X1C with one external AMS, so we can do 4 colors. I'm working on them right now to get the other 3 AMSs so that we can do 16 colors. But I printed, the printer came with a kit to make your own mouse. So it's inside of here is all of the components, all of the guts for a mouse, and then you just had to print the mouse body, which I did, and I made it so that the mouse shell, of course, is black, the inside is blue. It came with all the screws and everything. The only thing I had to provide was the filament and the battery. But it came with everything to put it together. It even says Bamboo Labs right on it, which is awesome. And it feels good. Like it feels great. I am going to print it again, and we're going to print it in RB colors. So it'll be probably be a white mouse with red interior. Probably. I have the white filament already. I just need to get some more red because I am almost out of red. I need to tell my boss on Monday that we're going to burn up his credit card again because they turned mine off. I really want a 3D printer for the house. I'm trying to convince Mrs. RB that it would be a good thing to have around here. White not good on them. I know that's like that. So I could do red with white inside because you can't touch the inside, right? I could do red, but I don't know. Now I do have another mouse that I use sometimes with this. Black with a logo inlay. I mean, that could be fun. I don't know how I would do that. That could be cool. Wonder how. And the other thing I want to print is my Minecraft skin. I want to print my avatar and put it on the shelf. Put it on a shelf back here. But black mouse with a logo inlay. That could be cool. Don't know how to do that though. No, not life size, but decent sized, right? Like maybe 6 or 10 inches tall. Life size would be cool, but that's a lot of filament. That's a lot of filament. Lots and lots and lots of filament. I did get an order for another cutting board. Woodshop project? Maybe. Speaking of woodshop, I did get another order for a cutting board. So, the wedding gift for somebody. So I got to get started on that. The wedding is in October. We'll get that finished up. Give it a good chance to cure and all that good stuff. Yeah, and the wedding is towards the end of the month, so it's more like 2 months, almost month and a half now. Plenty of time, plenty of time. As a matter of fact, I should look and see what I've got for for wood. I know I've got some of what I need, just not all. Just not all. I also need to do a tune-up on the table saw. The table saw needs a new top, because in an effort to make the saw better, I have I know, right? This year's gone by super fast. In an effort to make the saw better, I have done updates to it here and there. And one of the things that I did was I took the solid one piece top that I originally had when I built it, and I made it into a top for the saw and then 2 extension wings. And that didn't work out so great. It needs to go back to being a one solid piece top. And I have a piece out there. I just need to take the old one off, put the new one on. It's also gonna make the tabletop a little bit smaller, but it's gonna make it so that I can fit it in more places in the shop. So it's gonna make it better. And I'll still be able to cut 36 inches, 30 inches, probably 36 inches. The saw, the top that I've got out there now, I can cut almost 50, and I never cut anything that big. I never cut anything that big. So is it nice to be able to cut stuff that big? Yes. But I never. Much more gooder. Yes. Much more gooder. And then I got a mess in here. I've got to do something about this place. This place is a disaster. If you could see the floor right now, like, I'm kind of glad that nobody ever comes in here, because this place is a death trap. Cables all over the place, dice tray down there on the floor. I need some D&D in my life right now. So much that I've actually contemplated coming up with my own campaign. Ooh, a Formica return. Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that. I might be able to get a piece. Well, I mean, I've got a piece of melamine that's the size that I want, but yeah, Formica return would be great. Yes. This has potential. What else? Oh, I need some D&D in my life. To the point that I have thought about creating my own campaign. DMing my own campaign. I don't know if I would miss being a player. I feel like maybe I would. That's the thing that's holding me back, is I love being a player. But maybe DMing my own campaign is where it's at. But I want to make, if I'm going to do it, I want to make my own campaign. I've got a couple of ideas rattling around up in my head. And I also don't have a Dungeon Master's Guide. I'll have to buy one. I'm kind of excited for Critical Role. Their season 4 campaign is coming out next month. I haven't run a game in 30 years. I ran a game for my brother and some of his friends when I was, early 20s and they were teenagers. I ran a game for my brother and some of his friends. They played for a few months. So we probably got, I don't know, 10 or 12 sessions in. It was fun. But at that time in my life, I wasn't ready to be a dungeon master. But I'm thinking maybe D&D 24 rules. D&D 24 rules. Mostly played White Wolf. So the campaign that I ran for my brother was a Ravenloft campaign. Talk about complicated. Whew. Some of you remember Ravenloft. Some of you, I'm sure, remember Ravenloft. Vampires and werewolves and But yeah, I'm thinking about a campaign. Remember it, didn't play it. Yeah. I was one of those poor suckers that thought, yeah, this is going to be great. Man, Ravenloft was tough to run. Ravenloft was tough to run. But we enjoyed it. Like I said, we got 8 or 10 sessions in before they lost interest and started doing other things. But I know a group online. That if I came up with a campaign, they might play. Again, I just don't know if I have the time. Yeah, I knew Diamond Anvil would be in. I knew he'd be in. Well, I'm thinking about it. I just got done watching, I guess it was last week. I just got done watching season 2 of Oxventure Weirdwood on YouTube. You'd love to if your schedule would allow it? Okay. Good to know. I feel like I kind of, I don't know if you guys have watched it or not. So Oxventure is a smaller scale gaming D&D TTRPG group on YouTube. Johnny Chiodini runs the table. And this Weirdwood campaign that they have right now is intriguing because magic has a cost. If you use a magic spell, then you acquire a point of debt. And then at the end of every session, yeah, you can use a fireball, and you acquire a point of debt. And those points accumulate every session. So if you use 5 spells in the first play, right, in the first session, then you have 5 points of debt. And at the end of the session, you roll a D100. If you roll 5 or less, then you get an envelope. And the next time you cast a spell, you have to open the envelope, and whatever the penalty is, it could be a penalty, it could be a boon, but magic has a cost. And so debt, D-E-B-T, debt. So if, like I said, if you cast 5 spells, then you have 5 points of debt. And then at the end of the session, you roll a D100. If you roll 5 or less, you get an envelope with a consequence in it. Could be a good consequence, could be a bad consequence. And then the next time you cast a spell, you have to open the envelope and apply whatever the consequence is. Sometimes you get poisoned. Sometimes you get a burst of electrical energy through you. Sometimes you get points of healing. It's just, it's luck of the draw and luck of the dice. If you do roll, exactly. If you do roll your current debt or less, and you have to pull an envelope, then your debt gets halved. So let's say you have 10, and you roll a 10 or a 7 or 10 or less. Then the next session, now your debt is only 5. But if you cast more spells, you're going to add to that 5. And the first spell that you cast, you have to open the envelope and take whatever consequence there was. And some of the consequences have been fantastic. One of the players, this was pre-game, but magic has gone weird in the Weirdwood. And this player, Ellen, she plays a character by the name of Cressida, and Cressida is a wizard, and she would cast spells from time to time, and she started to grow. She's an elven wizard, but now she's grown horns, and so she's this weird looking elf now, right? It's an interesting idea, and while I don't know that I want to do that, I want to do something like that, and it applies to all magic too. So if you're a healer that casts spells, or a rogue that casts spells, or a paladin that casts spells, or whatever, then you still acquire points of debt. And if you roll the right or wrong number, you get an envelope, and you have to carry out whatever it says. One of the healer in the group now has a penalty on their wisdom saves. So if they have something that they have to roll a wisdom save for, they don't roll the wisdom save. The DM rolls the wisdom save. Yeah, like someone else, your wisdom saves are in the hands of somebody else's dice. Like that's an intriguing idea. And I would like to think that there's some variant of that I could employ in a campaign. I just got to come up with a story. I admire people. I admire creatives. Our DM for United Adventure Company, Jackal Crossing, he's come up with some great stories. And then you've got the greats like Matt Mercer and Brendan Lee Mulligan, and even to a point Johnny Chiodini. They're good stories. So I need to figure out if I can create a good story. Do I want to use a pre-existing world and adapt a story to that world? Do I want to use a Baldur's Gate scene, but with my own storyline, and how would that look? Or do I want to just create my own world? Matt Mercer created Exandria. Could I do it? I don't know. Am I that creative? I don't know. Would I lose interest? I don't know. Anyway, it's just something that I've been thinking about. Start with a tavern and go from there. Yeah. Okay. I need a tavern name. The Gristly Mug. The Tarnished Tankard. That's a good one. I kind of like that one. The Tarnished Tankard. Whiskey Wishes. Sure. Ooh, Whiskey Wishes. And the tavern owner is a sorcerer. or a genie or djinn. They're starting to turn up here. What town is this? What town is this? Is this tavern in? Handing out envelopes to the drunk. Yes. I can't spell. That's okay. Whiskey Wishes. I'm sure that somebody's used the tarnished tankard before. But it's an open source world, right? Doesn't matter. Have we talked about everything we need to talk about today? I feel like the answer is yes. I feel like we've had a good just chatting stream, y'all. What do you think? I did change a couple of things. I don't know if anybody noticed or not. So during the pre-stream, and hang around for the post-stream as well, during the pre and post-stream, music levels are a little higher. When I'm talking, the music levels should be just barely there. Let me know if I've succeeded on that. I'll check it out in the VOD when we're done, but music levels should be just barely there. And then when we're doing gaming content, where I'm actually capturing a game from the HDMI input from the laptop, music goes away altogether. I can still hear it, but it doesn't come through on the stream. That way we get sound effects from the game or whatever. Because I have been getting a lot of copyright claims, even using Pretzel's YouTube-friendly streaming music. I've been getting a lot of copyright claims on my videos. These just chatting videos, I don't care about those. If they can't be monetized, no big. Nobody ever with your tinnitus you don't hear it. Okay. That's fine. My whole point is that while I'm talking or playing a game, I really don't want YouTube to hear music that somebody can claim anyway, right? So if you can't hear it, then perfect. I just want it to be just subtle enough, right? And then when we're playing game, if I put a VOD out, if I release the VOD after the fact, and no claims come in, great. I don't have to do anything. Yeah, a little white noise, exactly. If no claims come in, great. I don't have to touch anything. It can just exist, right? If a claim does come in, then all I have to do to make the claim go away, all I have to do is go in and edit the video in YouTube and cut out the pre-stream and cut out the post-stream, and the game is still there. And there's no music. So there's nothing to claim, right? So that's the vision. That's what I'm trying to get to here. And I finally this morning was able to make that change, and I think it's going to work. Last week when we played PGA Tour Golf, none of those streams got a copyright claim against them on YouTube. Before that, a couple of weeks before that, if I had music playing, then there were sections of videos that were being claimed, and it would say that the video is not able to be monetized, or that the revenue was going to be shared. And it is what it is. I don't make a lot of money off these channels anyway. If you want 3 cents, fine, you can have 3 cents. But I've gotten to the point where I do care, right? I'm not violating anything. I'm using music that is safe to use. It's copyright friendly. And yet people still try to claim it, even if it's not theirs. And so fine, you know what? We can do this, but you're not going to mess up my portion of the video that is my content. And thanks, Darth. I feel like that's smart as well. I have. Others have. And I think what the problem is the fact that I multi-stream. I think the problem is that I multi-stream. I never get copyright claims on Twitch. Do you know why? Look right above your message. Stream elements. Nope, not stream elements. 2 to 3 messages up. Pretzel Rocks now playing. Let Loose by Will Baker. Craig Seller gives me the link to Pretzel. Now, Pretzel Rocks now playing. The Blue Hour by Nicholas Boskovic. Right? On Twitch, Pretzel puts it in chat what it's playing. And I think that's why it's never been claimed by anyone. It's supposed to do that on YouTube, but the player, the streaming service, Pretzel Rocks, apparently hasn't figured out how to get their bot to put a message on both. Right now, YouTube chat is empty. YouTube chat is empty. Nobody's watching over there, and that's fine. I don't think anybody's watching over there anyway. See, I have 1 view on the stream. No concurrent viewers at this point in time. It says it's public. The average view duration, 2 seconds. This is great. But to that point, I just want to. Hey, Diamond Anvil's watching now. Yay. Welcome to the stream, Diamond Anvil, over on YouTube. Cheers, buddy. I mean, let's face it. We got a couple minutes left. We can open this can of worms. If it comes to streaming, Twitch is the best. That's what they've built their business model on. When it comes to streaming, Twitch is the best. YouTube has made improvements on their streaming service, and YouTube in general isn't a bad place to watch a live stream. And there are quite a few people that do stream on YouTube, and there are quite a few people that do watch them on YouTube. But Twitch is the big daddy when it comes to streaming on the internet. YouTube is the place to go if you want to see content, short form or long form produced content. You know, I would love my YouTube streams to look good. Watch me on YouTube when you found me all those years ago. Yeah. And YouTube has its place. If you're looking for a 10 or 15 minute tutorial on something, or if you're looking for 30-minute Minecraft episode, or if you're looking for how to change the oil on a 2004 Toyota Corolla, YouTube is a great place to go and get that from. Twitch is not. The thing I do hate about Twitch is that Twitch is not discoverable. Like, it's very difficult how to clone an SSD. Yeah. How do you clone an SSD? You can find that on YouTube. Are you going to find it on Twitch? Probably not. That being said, I would love it if I could figure this game out, right? The streaming game, the content game. I've been doing this a long time, And I haven't really invested a lot of my time, effort, and energy and money. I mean, I've invested more money than anything, you know, building my own PC, which you guys helped with that. The Patreon members, the people that made donations and Twitch streams, the subscribers on Twitch. That's where the money for the PC came from. That's where the money for the SSD upgrade for this came from. But yeah, like figuring out YouTube, and you can't go to YouTube and figure out YouTube, because there was a video that I just watched the other day. I don't remember who it was by, but there was a video that I watched the other day that said, you know, don't listen to YouTube gurus, because they've been given the same advice for years and they get millions of views on their stuff, but has it really helped anyone? Arguably no. I view a lot of those YouTube help me become a better creator or help me make my channel discoverable videos. I find it to be snake oil, because the stuff that they want you to do, the stuff that they tell you to do, you really can only do if you're a full-time creator. And many of us can't be full-time creators. I would love to be a full-time creator, but I can't, because I'm not in one of those niches that I feel like I could become a full-time creator. I don't think I can become a full-time creator with woodworking content. I don't think I can become a full-time creator with gaming content. I don't think I might be able to become a full-time creator with tutorials. Maybe. But that requires a significant amount of time and investment of time that I don't have, because I have to concentrate on my day job. This is a side gig for me. It's fun to do. It's fun to do, but can I make it a career? No, because how much money have I made on YouTube this year? Let's see. YouTube. That's not the right channel. There it is. Well, yeah, so there is that. When I retire, I can have a lot of fun. I'm sad. Hermitcraft Season 10 is coming to an end. I mean, we know that this is going to happen at some point, right? But they have officially announced that Hermitcraft Season 10 will be done at the end of September. I mean, yeah, it's time. All right, so let's see. Analytics revenue for this year, 2025. I've made $26. I have made $26 in 2025 on YouTube. On Twitch, let's see. Analytics, I think it is. Earnings, open in a new window. Add in my expenses for Mountain Dew alone. Yeah, there is that. Earnings for $2025. Update. I've made $70, $69.44. So I've made $100 live streaming. Haven't watched it. Well, honestly, I'm gonna say something that's probably a little bit controversial here. That's when season 10 really kind of died. I think the fact that Iskall, that whole Iskall thing went down, I think that's when season 10 kind of took a turn towards dying off. And I say that because where his builds are, it's kind of a central location, and it was hard for content creators to even go through that area and not feel like, well, he wasn't playing much, that's true, but it was hard for people to go through that. And I'm sure, I don't have any proof of this, but I am sure that if you went through a video where somebody even just flew past Iskall's tower, the comment section was like, oh, Iskall, I miss him, or oh, good thing he's gone, or good riddance, or I'm sure, the YouTube comment section can be absolutely terrible, right? Terrible. The only other thing that I'll add for this is Patreon. So I do have Patreon still, and there are still supporters who contribute to Patreon. Patreon. Not that Patreon. Log out. Continue with Google. This one. So 20 earnings for custom earnings for this year. $160 from Patreon. So just short of $300 in 2025. Well, if you can, Darth, that's fantastic. No pressure. I don't want to put anybody in a situation that they can't handle. So if you can, we will graciously accept it, but don't do anything that you can't do, right? I don't want that from anyone. The fact that you give us your Twitch Prime sub every month is amazing. So cheers for that. If you want to do Patreon, that's fantastic too. I did shut down my woodworking Patreon because it's not time. It's not time for that to be there. I feel like we can. Well, I'm very happy for you. I'm very happy for you. And if you do choose to funnel some my way, I will graciously accept. So cheers, buddy. But yeah, I did shut the woodworking Patreon down because it just wasn't time. It wasn't branded right. I am doing a little bit of a rebrand on the woodworking channel anyway. The woodworking channel has traditionally been called the Weekend Woodshop. I don't want to call it that anymore. I've already changed the YouTube name to Richard Brooks Woodworking because this is about my woodworking business. This is about my woodworking business. And so I want to be more like Keith Johnson Woodworks. I want to be more like Almfab Studios, Padula Studios. I want to create beautiful things and take you on a journey of building those beautiful things. And the channel originally was just me trying to figure out on weekends how to create a wood shop, and that's not what the channel is about. It's evolved. It's evolved into these are the things that I make, and this is the process that I use to make them. Is that gonna be my bread and butter? I don't know. But this is I want my woodworking channel to be about my creations. You know? So, anyway, I think that is going to do it for today, y'all. I think that's going to do it for today. Because, oh, hydrate 6 minutes ago. We missed that. Cheers. It has become better, a lot better within the last few months. Are you talking about your situation? Or are you talking about my woodworking channel? Because if it's a woodworking channel, I think you're confusing me with somebody else. It has not become better in the last few months. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for today, folks. Good stream today. Had a great time chatting with you all. I appreciate you. Oh, my woodworking? Well, okay. I mean, I will say this. That last cutting board that I made, I am super proud of it. That was the first ever end grain cutting board that I've ever made. And it was a journey. I had to come up with some interesting ways to do that project, you know. I have a 15-inch grizzly planer, and that board was 20 inches wide. How am I going to make it flat? Well, I used a router sled. I was going to record that build, but the customer invested a lot of money in that board, and I didn't want to keep them waiting any longer than I had to. So that's why I didn't film it. I started to, and I was like, nope, this is not the right project. Now, the next project that I want to build is going to be a bench, and it's going to be beautiful. And I feel like that's going to be one that we're going to record. I'm going to build it out of cherry, probably. Maybe construction lumber. Haven't decided yet. Maybe. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But anyway, folks, thank you all so much for watching today. I do appreciate you hanging out with me for these last couple hours. If you like the stream, you know what to do. Hit the follow button, get notified every time we go live, which is every Saturday right here on twitch.tv/RB_plays and also youtube.com/RB_plays. If you like the stream enough, then, you know, especially if you're watching over on YouTube, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. And then if you really love the stream and you want to help support the channel financially, you can do all of the things. You can either hit subscribe on Twitch. I think it's $7.99 a month. You can hit the join button on YouTube. Somebody tell me if that works. Like, I don't expect you all to actually join on YouTube, but somebody go through that process of hitting the join button on YouTube and make sure that it takes you through the process of tier and all that, and let me know, maybe in the Discord later. Send me screenshots or whatever. I would appreciate that, because I'm not sure if it even works right. Or you can go over to Patreon, patreon.com/RB_plays, and support the channel that way. There's also links for direct donations through PayPal if you're so inclined. Anyway, it has been a great day. We're going to go and do some other things. I've got some projects I got to work on today. Apparently, see if I can figure out how to do this stupid SSD, this NVMe drive. But thank you all for the support today. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I love you all to pieces. We'll come back. We'll do this again next Saturday. Next Saturday, we'll be back into games. Not sure which one yet. I'll let you know. Until then, have a great week. I love you to pieces, but get off my lawn. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.